So, with Once Human blowing up the Steam charts and taking over, I thought it was a good time to share how seasons and phases work for noobs like myself to Once Human, because you might still be coming to the game. The game is still maxing out and reaching high peaks, so it might even get higher if they can fix this issue and the issues I'm about to cover, because there's a lot of confusion. Basically, Once Human is planning seasonal wipes, and this current season is 6 weeks, and the next one is already planned and ready for in another 6 weeks. So think of it like Fortnite, where the map will change and new events and points of interest will appear and apparently new quest lines. They announced it 6 months ago. It's been in development for a while. Like I say, we're about 2 to 3 weeks into this season though, and it's already becoming evident that these seasons could be an issue for new people coming to the game. Because people joining now, I had some friends who came in about 2 to 3 weeks in, and it's hard for them to get the motivation to play because the game's going to wipe in 4 weeks for them. So this is a big issue. Compound that with not being able to join your friends on servers at the moment, because servers are capped out even though they're empty population. If someone's made a character, it counts even if they're not playing on that character. So there could be a lot of issues on the horizon for Once Human if they don't fix these pretty soon, because it has a dilemma with these wipes and join issues. So today I'll go over how these seasons and phases work, because as well as the seasons, each season is broken down into phases. We'll cover the pros and cons and what could work, and I'll give you guys some clarity on the information we know so far, because I did some deep dives and found out as much as I could. So without further ado, this is how seasons work in Once Human for noobs. So far, this is what we know about how seasons work from the Reddit post 6 months ago and a recent post on Discord. So currently the season lasts for 6 weeks and is broken down into weekly phases. So we are 2 phases through this 6-week season, which leaves 4 weeks left of this current season. And then after the season, it's going to wipe. So the reason for the wipes, they say, is to keep the game fresh. They say in Once Human, every season introduces a fresh journey where you start new and experience exclusive seasonal content. They say there'll be new stories and mechanics and events. So each season brings forth a new set of unique objectives. And the reason they have to do all this new stuff is because they're wiping our characters back to level 0. So this is the problem everyone's having, is that our progress is going to be wiped and we don't all want to go through the grind of leveling again through the quest content. So it will save our current season quest content, and apparently the new season will have new objectives and new quest content, which is kind of wild to think. But they've had 6 months to develop it, so it might be okay. But then they say in this post from 6 months ago, the best part is you have the freedom to pick from a variety of season scenarios and decide how you want to progress through them by offering an array of seasons. So even back here, it sounds like they were still figuring it out. I don't know if this is going to be the case, that we're going to have multiple seasons. So again, picture it like Fortnite with builds on or Fortnites without builds. You'll be able to choose which season you want to play, which will be wild, and I feel like split the population drastically. So this will be interesting to see how this plays out. It is in the current post from recently as well, so it's very strange, because I thought originally they would push us all onto the same season and the new season to keep the population together. And I think the season's basically going to be a fresh new wipe on the same map, but things are going to be different. So picture it like WoW Cataclysm, or like I mentioned earlier, Fortnite, where they change things on the map, add new events, and add a whole new quest line from 0 to max cap, which would actually be insane if they can pull off that amount of content. But they've had it on the back burner for a while, so maybe they can. And when I say they wipe content, you can actually save some of your content and put it into a place called Eternaland, which is a transition server where you can save your base blueprint and a lot of your other blueprints, like weapon blueprints and gear blueprints and some armor sets to transfer. So this is a lot of information to take in. I'm going to go over what happens after the wipe in the next segment, but this is basically covering what the seasons are. And I saw Carnage's video and Asmongold's reaction to it, and everyone's saying, and I agree with this, that the 6 weeks is too fast. People need more time to explore the map. I think at least minimum 3 months for the wipes would be much better for this. But I also saw Carnage was complaining that he had to redo all his points of interest, which will be an interesting point. If it is just reusing the same like quest mechanics, it will feel very grindy and samey and repetitive. So they'll really have to make this quest line fresh for people to be interested, because it could be great if it's like a whole new game again and everything feels brand new. But if it's the same generic loot the mythic chest and explore everything again, then I think people are going to get burnt out on that very fast, especially at this current rate. But the thing is, we're going to have extra and fresh events as well. So at the moment, we've got the frontier battles on the oil rig systems. And in the next seasons, we'll have other systems like possible raids that take us to the snow or the volcanic regions, and other parts of the map are supposedly going to open up as well. So there will be new points of interest. It's very unclear though, how much will be the same as the first wipe and how much will be changed. But then there's things that the devs were even vague on back when they announced the seasons, where they said that blueprints wouldn't be transferable to the next wipe, and now they're saying they are. So they've changed their mind. This has been in flux for a while, and I think that's the issue for me, is that they're allowing the transfer of blueprints, but for the fresh wipe, they're going to have fresh blueprints. And so I don't know how they're going to balance the power creep and the other gear sets coming back into the next season and half measure now. So there's content inheritance. So yeah, it's kind of wild. A lot of information to take in, and it's not very clear. This is as much information as we actually have. We also have this Discord post from recently, which also says you can redo the season that we're currently on again with renewed vigor. So you can rinse and repeat the exact same scenario if you want to, but I don't know who would want to do that. There's no incentive really. So it's very strange and very vague, and it could be a mess or it could be great. But I feel like they're trying to put one foot in and one foot out at the moment and appeal to everybody and make everybody happy. Because what they originally wanted to do with the dev interview, they were saying they didn't want blueprints to transfer so they could do fresh blueprints on each wipe as well. But now with that transferring, it's going to be very interesting. So yeah, it's kind of wild. You will save a lot of your progress, but it really needs to be fresh for this to make players interested and want to do the next wipe. Don't get me wrong, I'm all here for it. Once Human is pushing the boundaries and pushing what can be done with an MMO survival game. I feel like they've created a whole new niche and they're pushing the MMO envelope further, but I just wonder if they're pushing it too far and too fast. So in one hand, I'm here for it. One hand, I know why people don't want the wipe, because you want to save that progress. You want to feel like you've achieved that maximum level and stay there for a while. But then I understand why the devs are doing it, because that can get stale for a while as well. So it's really interesting. So this gives you an overview. Basically, it's going to be, we're playing again with a bit of variance, maybe a lot of variance on the map we're currently playing, with some new features and components added and new theme. So it could be maybe one season for PvP, it's PvP always on or something like that. Picture a spin, a fresh spin on each wipe, which I'm down for fresh content, but it needs to be fresh enough that it's not repetitive. And it needs to slow down a bit, because I'm struggling to keep up and I'm 50 hours in, man. It's crazy. In between the wipes, you can upload your progress to Eternal End. So we'll cover that now, because this is the thing everyone is worried about, is losing all their progress. But you do not lose all your progress. What happens when Once Human wipes with the season? With seasonal inheritance. What Once Human is doing is a system called seasonal inheritance, which means after the current season is finished, there's going to be a island open up which you can already go to, called Eternal Land. Now this is a server that lasts forever. It's not going to wipe, so you can take everything over there and basically you can save your progress there forever. So if you build a cool base, the idea is you can transfer it over there and keep some semblance of your progress. So in a way, you can save what you've done. You can save all your currencies. Bosses like Starkrom and Mitsuko's Mark and Stellar Planula and things like this, which is great. And gear blueprints, furniture formulas, cosmetics, character customization, building blueprints, main story and side story progress, and friends. So you are saving a lot in between the seasons. So don't worry, it's not a complete and full wipe back to square zero, but it's half a wipe. So you're losing all your resources and your mats. You can bring some of your gear over though, but that again is very vague. So it sounds like you can bring a very select amount of your weapons armor already made into the new wipe. And the blueprint system, it's going to be very interesting, because again, if you let people drop their really endgame blueprints in straight away, they're going to have a crazy advantage off the rip. But basically, don't fret, you can save your base, you can save a lot of your progress in Eternal Land. And in Eternal Land, it uses a resource called Astral Sand. It uses a different resource which is converted from all your current mats in Eternal Land to build with. So It's a kind of a wild concept, but I think it's wild because it's new and we don't know enough about what to expect. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so confusing. So the main thing we lose is map progress and leveling progress. So it'll be back with full fog of war, which I'm kind of here for on one hand, but I understand that, like Kokanich said, he's losing all his exploration progress, which some people really enjoy. But again, if it's fresh enough, then it'll be great. I just think the main issue here, and I keep saying it, is how fast it's going. It's not enough time to process everything in time, especially for casuals at the moment. There's no way that they can get through all the content on a wipe, and I know that from playing already about 55 hours in. Imagine you're trying to join the game and someone says to you, oh, we've only got 4 weeks left before wipe. You just won't play. There's disincentive to play with this wipe season. So now we're going to go over the pros and cons. There's a bit of both, to be honest. Let's go over the pros of the seasons, because I think there is some. Because once you get the hang of Once Human, it's not too hard to build up and grind, and it's fun to quest and level and explore the zones the first time through. The PvP while leveling can be fun and less biased on the endgame meta, so one-tap gear is more balanced, but with blueprints transferring over, this might not be the case. You can save your base blueprint again, so this is a pro, so you'll have your blueprint ready with you, but you'll obviously be gated by access to the resources. Measure new content will be fresh, hopefully. We don't know how much will be fresh, and the map will be fresh as well. So I'm hoping for like snow seasons and things like that, and you can bring some of your gear. Brand new enough, it will be fun. New events will be awesome and keep the game momentum up, so it's going to be great for Once Human's longevity. That is for sure. If they do it right and shake up the gameplay with new complete metas, then that will be amazing and keep the game from getting stale. But these pros are kind of hypothetical because with players bringing over blueprints, it's going to change the game quite a bit on a fresh wipe. You'll have access to a lot of things that you didn't before and be able to get to endgame much faster when you don't have to worry about farming the blueprints. So all of this relies on the new wipe and season being completely fresh. So obviously there is a pretty big cons list with this, and it's understandable. I know why people are hesitant about these wipes. I'm kind of along for the ride because Once Human's just blown me away above and beyond my expectations, but the cons are definitely here. The level wipes and the big grind for casuals and people with kids and jobs who can only play a few hours are not going to get to max level by the end of each of these wipes. They need some sort of XP boost at each level, so at week 2, new people who come in at that point can catch up to the level of everyone else faster to close the gap. It's going to be repetitive if the main quest mechanic is looting boxes for the mythics again, and it's not going to be fun to do that again. It gets very old by the end of leveling up, so that's going to be a big issue, and might take away from how fresh these seasons could be. Then we have server join issues like the one mentioned where my friends can't join our server, and so at this point in the wipe, we're not going to join up till the next season, and by that point they might be burnt out because we haven't been playing together. If one of them leaves, that's going to cause a huge issue, so they really need to fix the server join issues. And I think there's mergers planned as well, so this might help a lot. They need to give people free server transfers at this point, because this combined with the pace of these seasons is a disincentive for people to play. So it's like you nearly don't want to join your friend because they're too far in and the wipe's sort of nearly halfway already. And so it's like combining these two issues is really bad. Once Human's momentum right now, because you just can't join your friends. And by next week, with week 3 happening, you're not going to want to join your friends because the wipe is nearly over and you're going to feel like you missed out and you can't catch up in that time frame. And then people are going to be turned off because they feel like what they worked for is gone. Even though you save some of it, it's a foreign concept and it's very different to any MMO that we've played before, even though Once Human's emphasizing the survival side of things. And it sounds like it might be effort to transfer your stuff to the next season, so I know a lot of people that won't even bother with that if it's too much effort. So leveling loss is probably the biggest issue, I would say, for casuals. And for me, coming to the game new, it's taken a long time to get levels. But obviously, once you know the meta, it's not so much of an issue. And like Kokanich said in his video, exploration loss of feeling like you've saved and, completed, for completionists, that's going to be a huge issue for people getting turned off. They'll feel like they're disconnected and lost their connection to the game. You know, you get all set up, you get attached to what you've got. Oh, that's my base. I'm going to log on and check out what's going on. I haven't been on. It becomes your home, you know, and if you take that away from people, people may not come back in all cases. And the other con is it's not a full wipe, and by this I mean players who reached endgame previously still have a huge advantage because they keep their star resources, they keep their BPs, they keep so much progress that is going to give them a huge advantage over everyone else once we get into more phases into the next season. Unless the new blueprints they add for each season, like make the other ones obsolete, then this system of transferring blueprints and stuff isn't going to work. It's a half measure. Another con is FOMO and fear of missing out. So, you know, people, it's already in my head that I'm like, I've got to go fast, I've got to keep up because it's going so fast. And the FOMO, fear of missing out, is real. So I feel like I've got to level up, I've got to keep up, and I can't enjoy the game as much as I want to because it's so fast. The con is the time frame. This needs to be slowed down, and I know everybody's saying that, and I think they will slow it down. It needs to be 2 weeks at least for each phase, if not more. I would say 2 weeks would be just the sweet spot at the moment from my experience personally, but I understand I'm still like in the upper echelon of players who can put down a lot of time. Being a content creator, I can put in a lot of hours. So there's a lot of cons to this. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments if you guys agree with these or disagree. And I understand that people are hesitant about it, but I'm also kind of here for it. So I've made a list of ideas of how we can make it work as well. So firstly, to make it work, you need to make it at minimum 3 months. 6 weeks is insane. I'm nearly even thinking 4 months. Like, it's going to take people a long time, but then you don't want the upper echelon of players to leave because they're bored either. So I understand. I think 3 months will be the sweet spot. But the other fix I think would be to make the new season optional. So you leave up some servers of the legacy first wipe for a little bit longer, let people transition off them at their own pace, merge them all together. People that are still on them and the ones that want to leave can go to the new cluster and to the new wipe and do all that if they choose to. Make it a choice. Don't make it forced, and then you could have them up the first season for 6 months, say, and just let people have open season on there with a few servers, obviously less servers than originally intended, you know, and then let people choose. Don't sort of force it upon them. And then obviously, as I mentioned, let those who join late get an optional XP boost to catch up, and that will help a lot. But again, you don't want to be rushing through the content, so just slow it down once human. That's what you need to do. I feel like that will be huge. And I feel like, as this is going to sound bad and turn a lot of people off, but I feel like if you're going to do these seasons with the wipes like this, don't let people have BPs transferred, because that's just going to give everyone a huge advantage. Even the Star Crom transferring is going to give people a huge advantage because they can just buy the blueprints straight off the rip at the Wish machine. So I don't know. Like, if you're going to do it full. Don't do it half, but you've got to please the audience. And it's like they want to please the audience and keep people happy in a way because they're too scared to rip the band-aid off fully. And I understand that too, because obviously I don't want everyone to lose their progress either, but I'm here for fresh content as well. But the fresh content needs to be done right. And I think make sure these quest lines and the main quest is not repetitive, and it does not involve looting all these mythic chests and doing that whole process, because that will get old for players very quick and very fast. I would hope with these new wipes that they make the new content the focus, so that we can get the stuff that we get from those mythic chests, you know, from doing a cool event that's actually interesting, like a raid in the snow, which I've seen announced. So obviously fix the issue where players can't join the server if there's too many people that have joined once and then left as well, because this is going to be a huge issue once human. Get onto it quick, because by next week you're going to have people looking at the game and not playing because of how quick the season is. I would also say once you make sure to communicate, the community know if you're considering any changes or what you're planning to do, so that people can plan accordingly. Because I come from Ark, and the lack of transparency and communication was the downfall of that game. So what do you guys think? If you guys enjoyed this video or found it helpful or agree or disagree with any of my points, let me know below, and don't forget to subscribe and like. I'll see you guys in the next one. H.O.D out.